I'm I.
Hey guys, welcome to the first episode of Incident Report, and I'm joined by my co-host today, Zubin Demania. Blah blah blah, Health 3.0, blah blah blah, blah 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 blah, talking points, blah 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 blah.
I do not sound like that.
Where did you get that poster of yourself?
This monstrosity?
Because it's hideous.
So this dear Z-Pack came from the TEDMed 2013 when I gave my talk. They had these for every speaker, all like 30 speakers, and they were hanging like a bizarre gallery of evil. Look. It's got my name. It's got my name on it, and it looks like Edward James almost had sex with a clown and procreated. And that was the... let's load up your comments, guys. This is the inaugural episode of Incident Report, our daily, hopefully daily. Are we doing daily?
We're doing it daily, people, and I got Logan here to actually run stuff technically. So it's not going to suck like it did yesterday when Logan wasn't here and he was somewhere else at home taking a nap like a jerk.
Oh, my children, it is going to suck. It's just going to suck on our terms, okay? It's not going to be the technical stuff that sucks. It's the content. Speaking of content... There are already comments about Dr. Drew. What?
Listen, people, we're here to talk about something that Dr. Drew said. No, actually, okay, so I'm a big fan of the Adam and Dr. Drew podcast, and it's great. And today, Dr. Drew sort of went off on a sort of hierarchical Health 2.0 tangent, and I wanted to play that for Zubin and get his thoughts. You haven't heard the clip yet, right?
I have no idea. Tom was like, I have this clip. You have to respond to it live on the show. I'm like, respond to this, buddy.
So why don't you put on your headphones right now, and you can listen to this clip for the first time.
Stop telling me what to do.
Along with our
Number
audience.
one, I'm the doctor. Last time I checked.
Dance monkey.
I was talking to one of my kids, and they had a friend who was, I don't think she wasn't a gender thing, but she identified as they. And wait, hold on.
She identified as they?
Hold on. And she's going to medical school, and I said, that shit is not going to fly on the wards. You're going to go, hey, get over here, Susie. Excuse me, I'm them. I don't give a fuck what you are. Get in there and hang that IV. That patient's dying. Shut the hell up.
Yeah,
get in there and
go.
You would just be like, you don't matter. What matters is that patient. Get in there. I don't care if I call you Rumpelstiltskin. Who gives a shit? Get in there and take care of that patient.
Go,
that would be how you react to that stuff when you're a resident.
I react to everyone all day.
No,
every
but
day.
when you have a job and your job is to make somebody not die, you don't. Stop it. Outside of the hospital, fine. Here, shut up.
Boom! Oh my gosh! Wow! Now I know why you picked that clip. Z-Pack, I'm gonna tell you my thoughts. So to recap what I heard there, I heard Dr. Drew responding to a resident medical student, was it, who wanted to be called by the gender pronoun they, which that's fine. But he said, look, I don't care who the hell you are. You're basically invisible. It's about the patient. So shut the hell up and go save this person's life. And I got to say, Tom, my elephant, my unconscious intuitive mechanism is like, hell yeah, Dr. Drew. Like, that's exactly right. It is not about us in the moment that you're taking care of the patient. It's about the patient, right? So that is the wrong time to assert the pronoun that you want used. And I think, again, like, is Dr. Drew being a dick? Sure. Do we sometimes need to be a dick in healthcare? Probably. Do we do it wrong most of the time? Abso-freaking-lutely. We do it in a hierarchical, dominating way that ends up making everybody feel like crap, especially the patient. So the question is, can we just speak the truth to each other and say, look, there's a time and a place? I mean, what do you think, Heinber?
Well, I am not a medical professional, but Marta Rodriguez disagrees with you, and she says, so wrong, that's abuse and overuse of resident students, so unprofessional of Dr. Drew.
How interesting. So again, I am giving you my elephant's reaction, which is, hell yeah, it's about the patient. However, let's think about this now. Imagine Dr. Drew's a surgeon. They're in the OR. And this medical student has been saying this repeatedly through the channels of the hierarchy of surgery, and still this surgeon refuses to recognize how she wants to be, or he wants to be, or they want to be addressed. That's abuse, to me. Because now...
Matt Phillips says, Dr. Drew is always right. Z can do what Z wants in solo practice, not in the hospital.
Dr. Drew, why are you picking on me, buddy? I ain't got time for you, all right? You're another celebrity doc. I'm not a celebrity doc. I'm just a doc who stands in front of this, okay? That's what I do because that's the best that Tom could do is skill saw. I mean, have you ever thought about going to medical school? Because fired, like ejected from the premises.
I'm definitely not going into surgery anytime soon. Maggie Garcia says, I agree. Probably not the best time to assert oneself, but probably could go about it in a different way.
I think that's all it is. It's about communication in the end. Like the interaction that Dr. Drew had was one where he felt this was a totally inappropriate time to communicate this point about gender identity. And again, the medical hierarchy is shitty. We all know this. This has been established. Doctors treat nurses like crap. I imagine nurses treat some CNAs like crap. And CNAs somehow treat me like crap. I don't know why. That's just the nature of it's a circular crap treatment. But the thing is, if we all just actually came from a place of collaboration and respect, then these kind of interactions would be lessened. They're not going to disappear because we're human beings. And we're wired to be socially kind of occasionally assholes and stuff. But we can do better, right? But I think just reflexive butt hurt on either side is probably not the answer. That's my take. What do I know? I'm just me. I got nothing. Heineber?
Let's see. Tracy Ann says, please and thank you. You are assumed in a emergent situation. If you are butthurt, perhaps you picked the wrong field of practice.
I think this argument happens a lot where people say, you entered medicine. What the hell did you expect? It's like going into the military and you don't expect you're going to get yelled at and beaten down and abused and tormented and sleep deprived and stuck with needles and infected with HIV. You don't expect that? What's wrong with you? So you see what I did there? I ramped it up from what are kind of reasonable, maybe possible expectations for healthcare to where it gets crazy. And the question is, where is that boundary? Where's that line that you cross where, no, this is not a reasonable expectation of any human being and we can do better? I think the answer is somewhere on that spectrum. And again, it gets back to the work hour things and everything else we've been talking about the last few weeks. What is abuse? What is treating each other with respect? And even in my game, like what's satire and what's crossing the line and causing intentional butthurt?
Jennifer says, I identify as Jen, but I respond to X-ray and hey you. I never take it personally.
That's the comment that wins the internet today. That's exactly right. RT. Yeah, I prefer to be called RRT because that extra R adds a certain degree of, degree.
Listen, you've been attending. Have you ever yelled at a resident who was being a total jackass?
You know what's interesting is I don't yell. That's not really my thing. I don't do it in person to people. I will.
That's worse because you probably just cut them down with really severe comments about their personal insecurities, right? That was a yes. Expand on that. Listen, I'm sorry, but you do that, right?
I told you already, you're not supposed to make me cry on the show. So if you're going to do that, don't do it on the show. Do it after the show like we talked about. Because if I'm going to give you feedback, I'm going to do it now on the show. And that's don't fuck with me. Not you, man.
I respond to Z. And I'm a they, please.
I'm going to get back in frame because...
Also, I'm a millennial, so you can't even fucking talk to me like that. I'm sorry about the F word, people.
Yeah, sorry. This show, Incident Report, is a little uncensory. A little bit, not too much, because we still want kids to watch, but maybe we'll, I don't know how to do that. We'll figure it out.
Let's see. Samantha Americo says, abuse should never be tolerated in any field.
So it's tough, Samantha, because sometimes, and abuse, yes, by the definition of abuse, yes. The thing is in healthcare, like you had asked the question about the residents, I never yell at a resident, but what I would do is I would sit down and go, let's have some feedback. Like, here's the things that are working, here's the things that aren't, and let's try to work together to see how we can make your learning environment better and also my teaching environment better, because it sucks right now because you are psycho lazy and dangerous. And if you ever talk to a patient like that again in front of me, I will cut you. And I won't wear gloves.
Is there, I'm just curious, is there a sort of double standard? I mean, your wife is a doctor as well. Is there a double standard if she was to talk to somebody like this and say, shut the fuck up and do your job?
She'd be called a bitch right away. And that's how we treat women in medicine. There's absolutely a double standard, and it's deeply ingrained from decades of hierarchy, and it still persists. And anyone in the physician moms group will tell you that they've experienced this on a daily basis. How dare you cough, Logan, while I'm trying to exposit?
I'm sick.
You're sick. By the way, let me tell you guys this story. So Logan, we drive by an urgent care, and Logan goes, hey, is it cool I went to that urgent care the other day because I was sick? And I was like, well, what do you mean you were sick? And I'm like, well, I was coughing and stuff. I'm like, you went to an urgent care because you were sick. You're the one I'm going to cut, Logan, because I bet they gave you a Z-Pack. Did they give you antibiotics? They gave him a Z-Pack.
This is a typical millennial, right?
Does
here,
he text me? Does he call me? Does he say, Z, you're the smartest doctor I know. Let me help you. No. He goes, I'm going to go to urgent care, spend a $100 copay, get a Z-Pack, and end up with C. diff. And then I'm going to crap all over Z-Dog's floor in Studio Z. That's what he says. Am I right?
Let's get back to the issue at hand. Do you support Dr. Drew's comments?
I'm going to say this. I think Dr. Drew is speaking in a way that many hierarchical physicians would speak in a 1.0 environment. In a 2.0 environment, Dr. Drew would be so neutered by HR that he'd know that when he came up for his performance review and his metrics, it would come up that this person gave him a bad eval, and it would ding him academically and professionally. So it would never happen in 2.0. It would definitely happen in 1.0. But what's happening in 2.0 is he's subverting it, and it's coming out in passive-aggressive ways. I guarantee you. So unless we can actually talk about stuff, nothing is going to get better for a 3.0 thing where we actually communicate.
So what does he do in a 3.0 system instead of yelling at this person and be like, shut the fuck up and do your job? What should he do in that environment?
I think he should put, I think the issue is he should put his shit on hold for a second because it's about the patient. Okay, let it go, have the interaction with the patient, and then take the resident and have feedback where you say, look, here's what I didn't like about what just went down. I'm sorry if I'm using the wrong pronoun, but this is what's important. So let's have it out now so that this doesn't happen again and communicate. I mean, that's what it is. It's hard. It takes a degree of, first of all, courage and also weirdly vulnerability to be able to give that kind of feedback and take it also, right, without getting reflexively defensive. Because part of it's a reflexive defense because Drew, who's a pretty sophisticated cat, was probably like, did I offend this person by doing the wrong thing? Like, am I a dick now? And the way he responded to that was like, no, screw you, it's about the patient, shut the hell up, go do your job.
And in general, what do you think about people wanting to be called they, them, Z, non-binary, all this kind of stuff, turkey sandwich, whatever?
I mean, my take is whatever people want, it's their life. If they want to be treated a certain way, they can ask other people to do it. It's other people's choice whether they want to treat them with whatever level of respect they want to treat them. So that it's about individual liberty. If you're a libertarian, you would just say whatever you want, bro. Just don't force me to do something that hurts me because I'm not going to do it. And if saying they hurts me, because I know it hurts you, Tom Heineber.
My take is this: transgender women want to be women. Transgender men want to be men. Who are the people in the middle who want to be nothing? I don't understand who they are. It makes no sense.
Now I have to play the not play nice. I have to play what I actually think, which is there are people who are on a continuum of gender identity. Now, and the reason I say this is I've seen it in my practice, and so I respect that, and that's my stance.
Let's see. Great comment from Abigail Lehman who says, new motto, putting your shit on hold to take care of the patient.
I love that. It's like, I just put your shit on hold so I could take care of the patient. Like I think anyone could say that in the hospital without getting in trouble. I actually doubt that. I think you'd end up in HR for using the S word.
This goes into something else I want to talk about a little bit, which was, I saw this really stupid meme that this girl I don't respect on my Facebook feed posted, and I wanted to get your take on it, so I'm going to have Logan put it up on screen. Go ahead and put that up right now.
I can see this. Okay, I'm going to read this. Patient, doctor, I don't feel well and I'm not sure why. Doctor, I want you to meditate for 20 minutes twice a day, exercise for at least 30 minutes a day, avoid processed foods, eat plenty of organic fruit and veg, spend more time in nature and less indoors, stop worrying about things you can't control, and ditch your TV. Come back in 3 weeks. Signed, Awake Spiritual. That's the source. Do we need to say a lot more than this? Here's my take. Yes, that's what the patient should already know. Isn't the doctor there for something different, though? Or should the doctor be doing that? Or how backwards are we as society?
I'm confused why my doctor needs to tell me to do things that are very basic, common sense. Every functioning adult member of our society should know to do these things?
You want me to answer that?
I really do want you to answer it because I hate these people personally.
Well, then you would hate a good portion of many of the patients that we see every single day in our clinics and our ERs because they don't, either they know these things and they ignore them because it doesn't fit with what their elephant believes or feels or wants, or they literally don't have the education level to understand that a soda is just pure sugar, calories, and is not a good thing to drink. And therefore, it is our role as caregivers to actually teach patients. The problem is we're not encouraged to do that. We're not paid to do that. We're not incentivized to do that. We're not trained to do that. And so what happens? Here's your statin. Here's your diabetes medication. Go home and shut the hell up and come back in 3 weeks so I can bill you for more procedures and tests and referrals and admit you to the hospital to amputate that last little bit of toe and deal with that diabetic stress ulcer. No. What's interesting, though, is if we had a great society that actually focused on education and the food pyramid wasn't a total scam and we actually had a real nutrition sort of curriculum in the US, then the doctor wouldn't have to do that. They would be there to treat the stuff that only doctors can treat, which is a lot of medical stuff.
Don't you think it's kind of an interesting meme because it's kind of taking that hierarchical 1.0 doctor-patient relationship and making it all about this 3.0 health coach wellness thing, but they want the doctor to fulfill every role.
This is the thing. Like, I think we're in Western medicine, we're criticized a lot for not doing what is in that cartoon. Hey, you know what you should do? You should just walk it off. You should do this. You should get outside. But the thing is, what do you want from your clinicians? You want us to be superheroes. You want us to do all of that, but then be able to step in a second and give you all the meds that you think you want because you saw it on Dr. Oz and all the other stuff that you think you need, and not commit malpractice or not be accused of malpractice, and get a great patient satisfaction score, all in a 10-minute, 15-minute visit while clicking boxes the entire time you're staring at this and you're talking to the patient like this. That's what they want from us. And we can do no good, but we can only do wrong, and then 60% of us won't recommend the career to our kids, and we're burning out and we're committing suicide, and this is what happens, people.
Erilyn Gomez says, doctors apply medicine where it can help, but it can't change the damage due to your bad habits.
Right, but then the question is, where do these bad habits arise? You know, a lot of it is conditioning, some of it is socioeconomic stuff, some of it is choice, some of it. So it's a spectrum of things, and until we address the entire spectrum, including the social determinants of health, which are crucial, and that now the insurance companies are starting to realize, wait a minute, if we actually address the economics, and this is one of the great fallacies. One of the great fallacies of healthcare in the US. People are like, oh, it's a mess, it's a disaster, the healthcare system's broken. Yeah, there are big problems with the healthcare system. We talk about them every single day, but you know what the bigger problem is? Society. We have horrible inequality in between the rich and the poor. Poor people don't have access to the same not only medical care, but prevention, diet. They live in food deserts, et cetera. And if you look at the data, most of the spend is from those demographics. So if we actually, you look at Norway and Denmark and these places, it's not so much that their healthcare is vastly better, it's that they actually have a societal safety net that takes care of their most vulnerable population. Now, I'm not trying to get into the whole liberal, conservative, libertarian discussion. I'm just saying this is a major, I think everyone can agree that it's a major driver of cost in the US. What we may not agree on is how to address it, right? So liberals will say, oh, let's just pay for them and have them do everything, and conservatives will say, no, screw them, let's just put them on an island and let them die. That's actually not what they would say. Or is it?
I would say that.
Yeah, that's what Tom would say.
Society gave us the McFlurry, and you want to bash society? What kind of a dick are you, dude?
I don't consider McDonald's to be society, okay? I consider it to be better than society.
It's the height of Western civilization. Also, let me ask you a tough question. Who do you know in life who's working hard, going to their job, paying their bills, taking care of their familial responsibilities, and isn't succeeding somewhere along the economic spectrum? It may not be that they're rich, but they're doing okay.
Well, I would bat back to you the counter argument, which is, how do you think they got to the position where they could do all those things? They probably had a decent family structure. They probably had support when they were younger. They probably had decent education. They probably didn't live in a demilitarized zone getting shot at, so they can't go outside. So you could make arguments both ways, right?
But what about Jay-Z? Because he's not a businessman. He's a businessman.
You win, Tom Heineber. Touche. Touche.
Mark it up on the scoreboard.
Touche. Let's read some comments. I want to get some people involved. How about some tort reform, Paul Nielsen? So for those who don't know, tort reform is this malpractice reform and changing how we get sued and how we're liable. And I think It's been estimated that up to 10% of sort of healthcare costs are due to defensive medicine, which is a pretty high number, but it's not the driver of everything, but it's still very important. In this society, I think what drives the most malpractice is our failure to communicate and engage with our patients, because it's been shown if you say you're sorry, if you communicate well, the rate of lawsuits goes down quite a bit, even when you make legitimate mistakes, if you own them. And I think a lot of us feel this intuitively. Our elephants understand this. And I'm very quick to apologize to patients even when I make a very minor mistake. I kind of admit it and say, oh, this happened and I'm very sorry, this is why it happened. We're going to work not to let it happen again. And when bigger mistakes happen, you have to sit with the family and have that conversation. So yes, we need tort reform, but yes, we also need cultural reform in healthcare, that saying sorry is okay, and it's actually preferred to the opposite, which is just denying it and pushing it off, and then you end up in court and you're talking through depositions, which is BS, because I don't like lawyers that much. I don't want to feed lawyers. I want to do the right thing for human beings. And some lawyers are awesome, by the way, especially the ones who defend people like me.
Scott Thomas says a Polar Pop is 74 cents and bottled water is $2.49. Do the math. See, I would say that bottled water is free because you don't have to drink it from a bottle.
That's the thing. Bottled water is a total scam. It's horrible for the environment. It's expensive. It's actually not a whole lot better than tap water in many places, unless you live in Flint. And so this.
Listen, people, this is America. If you ever think your idea is too stupid to work, there are 100 different brands of bottled water in the grocery store.
That's amazing. And all of them are just, most of them are just purified tap water using reverse osmosis, which I have installed in my house. It costs about $100, and I get an unlimited supply of dope water, okay, that I can also wash my wine glasses with because I'm rich and I have wine glasses.
Next up, are we going to talk about the millennial thing, about how millennials are savvy consumers, but they don't want to consume any healthcare products?
Stat News today reports that millennials are avoiding the doctor due to cost, and they're actually really thinking 4 and 5 times before they go to the doctor, which it makes sense because they're broke. It also makes sense, the other finding they found, that there are 70% of them are likely to ask in advance what something's going to cost before they see the doctor. Whereas only, what did they say? 50% of normal adults. That's what literally what it said. It said 70% of millennials and it was like 30 to 50% or something of adults aged 35 and over. And I was like, so you have to, first of all, they're distinguishing between millennials and adults because the two don't necessarily have a Venn that overlaps. Am I right, Tom Heinberg?
Listen up, you guys are dicks, okay? If I'm not an adult, why do I pay taxes? I want all that money back and an apology, Uncle Sam. Thank you.
Didn't you get a refund? I don't even know that you paid tax. Did you pay tax?
Oh, I pay a shitload in tax, Sue.
You don't want to see my tax bill, okay? You don't want to see it. Hey, my monitor turned off, dude.
What'd you do?
Did you break something, Logan? It's your job to do technical stuff. Why am I doing it?
It's back.
It's back.
What happened, Logan?
Yeah, Tom.
You break it?
Blame Tom.
Blame Tom. Always blame Tom. Let's read some comments.
Anyway, isn't like the we're savvy healthcare? We're savvy with purchasing our healthcare because we see a system where they're like, they don't tell us what the price is, and we're like, why am I consuming something and you're not going to tell me what the price is beforehand? That's insane.
If that's true, Tom Heinberg, and I think it probably is, because millennials are actually they're seeing their wages decrease. They are actually indentured servants, as Dave Chase says, to the healthcare system, because the rising healthcare costs are lowering their effective wages. So yes, they're asking these tough questions, and guess what? We can't answer a lot of the time because there's no price transparency in healthcare. If you want to compare, if Logan decides he's going to go to urgent care A, he does not have access to enough information to go, okay, first of all, what are the different costs between ER, urgent care, my primary care visit, and then the free option, which is texting the one doctor he knows that he should trust, all right, who would tell him, just rest and drink no bottled water, drink tap water, not from Flint, and do your thing. No, he doesn't even have the information to do. Actually, all joking aside, there was a recent discussion that even physicians have trouble making educated healthcare consumer decisions because of the lack of information and decision paralysis because of all the possibilities you have. It's one argument for a single payer situation. You don't have to make any choices. You're just like, government official A. And actually, that's more a socialized medicine than a single payer. There's a distinction.
Cindy
right?
Kuhn says, how about cheap Walmart brand gallon spring water? I want to make this clear to all of you. It's municipal tap water. What you're drinking from those bottles is municipal tap water from any municipal tap district in the country.
You guys believe in homeopathy? Because I know you do, because you're the Z-Pack, and I know you guys are anti-science. If you believe in homeopathy, think about that bottle of Walmart spring water that came from a municipal tap. They used reverse osmosis to filter it down to a 20 to 30 parts per million contaminant. Now, there's many millions of parts. If one of those parts is Julius Caesar's stool, okay? It's so dilute at this point over the millennia that it is all powerful, and you are going to get basically a buttload of Julius Caesar stool energy from drinking one bottle of Walmart water. So just think about that. Science, people, and pseudoscience together at last, where they belong. Leslie Robinson, Finland has many services that are free. Oh no, where did it go?
Or affordable thanks to taxes, not just healthcare.
Thank
Now,
you, Tom.
here's the thing. These are very tiny nations with, and they're all ethnocentric. They're homogenous, yeah. So, I mean, how are we going to do that with a model? We're in the melting pot here. There's 350 million people here.
Denmark just overtook Norway Norway overtook Denmark as the happiest nation in the world. Lost monitor again there. Logan, what's going on?
Tom.
Is it just Tom did something? And what does that say? Well, yes, they have a great social structure, they have great healthcare, they have all that, but they are a homogenous, small population in a cold as F area, and they can do a lot more than we can do with our diverse, economically diverse, racially diverse population. What do you think happened there?
Is that back on?
Let's see. I'm going to read some comments while we're fixing that. Patients walk to a clinic and complain about the wait while the provider goes nonstop. Why are these still scrolling? Nonstop, no breaks.
I can't stop mine from scrolling either.
I know,
and
why
other
is it
people are
doing
having
that?
the same issue. So
I
it's a
can't,
Facebook glitch today.
Yeah, I can't hold a comment for long enough to read it. Let me try another one. Grew up in a low-income area. People ate poorly even though a large farmer's market offered local food dirt cheap. They would then think the healthcare system was a cure-all without wanting to change their own habits. Despite a good, low-cost, free clinic, they'll still use ER as their doctor. Until we change people's habits, we will never lower healthcare costs. Carl Scott. Carl, let me talk about this for a second. I think it's crucial. You change people's habits by changing incentives, by systemic structures, by education, by a lot of things around the person as well as within the person. We fail on every level in the US to incentivize appropriate behavior around healthcare. And then we pull whatever left of our hair is out, trying to go, well, why does this person behave so stupidly? And you're like, well, because every incentive in the system is letting them do that, is pushing them to do that. So we have to fix these systemic nudges. If you're going to use the same analogy that I always use of the elephant and the rider, the little conscious strategy guy, the emotional elephant that's running the show, they're walking on a path. If you make the path such that the elephant's like, oh, there are thorns on either side, or, ooh, a carrot. The elephant will go where you want it to go, and the rider doesn't have to work so hard making up justifications for why he's doing it. So this is part of how we fix things. We have to look at a macroscopic and a microscopic picture. What's next?
Let's see. I got a good comment from Lee Holland Skipper. The U.S. is huge and varied. Just look at the disparities between the urban and the rural areas. We can't just have sound bites to fix it. Sorry, it scrolled too fast.
You're absolutely right, and what I gave you was a soundbite. So deal with it.
Health 3.0, people.
Quit dissing Health 3.0.
I just want to know what it means, Z. I still don't know, man.
Hello, I am Z3PO, a protocol droid. I will explain Health 3.0 to you in only 5,000 words. It begins with economic incentives and ends with the elephant. Yeah, whatever, okay? Millennials. Why don't you go haggle over the cost of an urgent care with Logan, okay? Okay, just do
be
that.
Like, hi, instead of paying $30,000 for one Tylenol, I'd like to pay $25,000. Thank you.
By the way, you guys don't understand this, but Logan has the cutest kid in the world. I bet you don't understand this. Let's show you Logan. Show a picture. Show a picture of this kid. Oh my gosh, so cute. So cute. And only pre-autistic because of all the vaccinations you're going to give that child. Because Logan is like all the vaccines. Are there extra vaccines I could give? I will give those. That's what I love about Logan. That's why I let Logan in Studio Z. Also, he's essential to the show because he pushes the buttons that make all this work.
Judy Bailey says, video streaming is running fast. You're looking hyper. And then Erilyn Gomez says, no, Judy, I think he's just hyper.
What's the deal, everybody?
Wait, is he coming back here? What are you doing? Go back to your spot, man.
I don't want to.
All right,
Do we
let's
have my-
let's read some comments.
Oh, is my mic on?
Janice Myatt wants
No?
to say, are you anti-vax? Are you anti-vax?
Did it turn off?
Maybe you shouldn't have jumped around so much,
Shut
see?
the batteries off, Z.
Come on, man.
Talk. There it is. We're back.
Are we live? Is this thing on?
Yep, you're good.
Oh,
Scott Thomas says, in a serious moment, my son, 13-year-old, watches Z-Dog and now wants to be a doctor as a result. I'll send you the $250,000 tuition bill.
Oh, dude, I'm gonna go back into my frame because
You need to talk about this.
Hello. Let me tell your son that I am absolved of any responsibility for the crime of having him become a doctor. Is that fair?
It's a little weird that your lips were where your boobs are.
Is it though?
Little weird.
Is it though? Well, here's the thing. Okay, would I feel bad if children went into medicine because of me? No, because I think we're at a pivot point where we're going to transform it to a place where we really all want to work, and it's going to be amazing. So even my own children, I'm like, do it, and they're like, shut up, daddy, don't push me, okay, buddy? I don't want to do it. I want to be a princess. I'm like, you're 6. Get on it. MCATs are coming.
Bringing this back to the Dr. Drew thing, would you be okay if like one of your daughters went into medicine and then somebody was like, hey, shut the fuck up, get in there and do your goddamn job?
I would have a heart-to-heart with my daughter and go, okay, first of all, that guy's an asshole, and I will cut him, okay, A. B, what did you do to piss him off? I mean, that's the first, right? It's every Indian dad. What did you do? You're supposed to be nice. Kiss his buttocks. Kiss his buttocks. Don't make him out, I want to be called they. No, there is no they. There is I and you and the money you make when you graduate. There's no they. There's nothing in between you and a pool of gold coins. You know Scrooge McDuck? He's a role model. Jump into the pool. Swim around. Swim around.
He was the richest duck in America. Fun fact.
He's Duck Vader.
I love Scrooge McDuck.
I do too. He's amazing. And who were there were 3 clowns.
Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
Yeah, Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
What's that song? Dum 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 dum.
Life is like a hurricane here in Duckburg. Race cars, lasers, airplanes. It's a duck blur. Might solve a mystery, ba-da-da, or rewrite history. DuckTales. Woo! Boop, 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 boop. Every day we're out there making DuckTales. That was amazingly bad, like gloriously so. Let's read some comments. I love how many viewers we lost. We went from like 560 to 506 with the DuckTales. It's incredible. Still better than we normally do. I'll take it.
Victoria says, my daughters are RNs. They take care of their own business rather well.
Yeah. No, RNs know how to handle theirs. And you know, sometimes I'll get, every now and again, I get a message from an RN who's like, you know, this doctor yelled at me today, made me feel really humiliated. This was the story. And I always say, you got to understand when that happens, it's not about you. It's about that doctor's own shit, right? That they're projecting this out and they're feeling insecure. They're feeling something's happening. There's a fear-based response and they lash out. And this is very common. I know because I have been guilty of it. The difference between me and some other so-called doctors is that I figure it out the next day because I couldn't sleep and I feel really guilty and I feel really bad, and then I find the nurse and I apologize and we hug it out, and then she punches me in the balls and then I go cry in the call room. It's a very simple formula. Happens every time.
Ashley O'Neill says, LOL, loved you guys singing DuckTales. That's my childhood right there.
No doubt, right?
And then,
Scrooge McDuck.
Angela Cocopeletto says, hey Z, hey T, who's this other person next to you? This other person is Logan.
Hey.
Logan.
He's our editor and our cinematographer, and everything that looks pretty, Logan makes.
Yes.
Everything that's slightly insane and isn't that funny, I make with Z.
Pretty much spot on. You guys remember that Goodwill Hunting Vader intro clip for one of our shows? Oh, man. Tommy H. He's like, Z, have you seen this Goodwill Hunting clip where, you know, Matt Damon starts to cry and Robin Williams? And I'm like, no, let me watch it. And I'm like, okay, and he goes, we're going to make a Doc Vader about that. And I'm like, are we? Are we really? And the next thing I know, we're making a Doc Vader. I actually thought it was pretty funny.
William Christopher Walker wants to know, oh no, what did Dr. Drew do? Should we play the clip one more time for people that are joining us late?
Play the clip again.
Let's play it again and
Yeah.
we'll talk about it one more
Yeah.
time.
I was talking to one of my kids, and they had a friend who was. I don't think she wasn't a gender thing, but she identified as they. And wait, hold on.
She identified as they?
Hold on. And she's going to medical school, and I said, that is not going to fly on the wards. You're going to go, hey, get over here, Susie. Excuse me, I'm them. I don't give a fuck what you are. Get in there and hang that IV. That patient's dying. Shut the hell up.
Yeah,
Get in there and
go.
you would just be like, you don't matter. What matters is that patient. Get in there. I don't care if I call you Rumpelstiltskin. Who gives a shit? Get in there and take care of that patient.
Go,
But that would be how you react to that stuff when you're a resident.
I react to everyone all day.
No,
every
but
day.
when you have a job and your job is to make somebody not die, you don't. Stop it. Outside of the hospital, fine. Here, shut up.
I'm glad I heard that clip again, actually, because when I heard it in the beginning, I missed the fact that he's talking in the abstract about a medical student who's going to go to medical school and wants to identify as they. And the truth is, he's then telling her, no, you can't do that shit. You can't become a doctor using that kind of. And I think that's not fair. What I thought before is that he was in a situation where the kid was there and saying, no, call me they, and they're in the middle of a complex case or something. That's a useful response at that point. But in advance, that's a little bit old school, a little bit, But that's why I love Dr. Drew, because he doesn't give an F. And every time I feel like I've crossed a line, I just listen to one of these other guys, and I'm like, oh, hell yeah, someone else did it. It's like South Park. South Park's like, Simpsons did it. For me, it's like Dr. Drew did it already. He already basically pronoun bashed a poor, unsuspecting medical student.
Hey, Z, we're getting a couple comments that it's staticky. I think it's you moving around.
Is it?
Yeah, it's that. Is that what you guys are hearing? So just try and be a little less animated, Z.
You know what? Don't tell me what to do. I do me. I don't do you. That came out wrong.
Thanks, Logan, for fixing. You're welcome.
That's what
Better?
Logan does, people.
You're hearing better? That's funny because I was talking and these two buttholes were heads down talking, like whispering to each other. And I'm like, okay, first of all, stop your whispering because you're making me paranoid. Because A, chemtrails. B, chemtrails. C, mercury. D, autism. G, natural news. Illuminati. I thought the noise was my phone. I freaked out for a minute. Erlen Gomez. Yeah, what's going on? Is it better
guys,
now?
We're still learning how to run the show, and Logan's doing a terrible job. I just want to say.
Aaron Bidwell wants a shout out to LPNs, please. LPNs! There you go. It's better now, says Michelle Shea. Julie Santucci, it wasn't Z. Oh, it wasn't Z.
It's Tom.
It was my fault. It's a technical issue over here, y'all.
Listen, Tom, I'm going to start calling you they. Hey, they. You need to get your they together.
I would appreciate it because, if you're a they, you're a group. And if you're a group, you can become a church. And then I can start the Church of Tom.
And then you can get tax deductions.
That's what I'm talking about.
It all
like IKEA with more dogma.
It all kind. IKEA now with 70% more dogma. I like that.
Also, we put more meat in the meatballs. Those meatballs are mainly gym mats. Okay, I just want to say that right now.
They say now it sounds like bacon frying.
Really? It's back?
It's back.
Is
Sizzling.
it Tom? Maybe it's because Tom talks too loud.
I'm going to turn my mic off.
There it goes. We better? Let's try this. LOL Illuminati. You know what? I think we're probably going to wrap up pretty soon here anyways. How long have we been going? Let's see. We've been going for 37 minutes. Why don't I answer a few questions and then we'll see what we can do here. Because I like this. This is fun for me. This is my idea of fun, people. It actually really is. Love your pit crew. They add to the awesomeness. Susan Nevis Cleveland. I think they kind of do, don't they? You know what? I'm going to open a different app because I don't like the app I was using to look at my comments. Let me go back here. Here we go. Is it Facebook? Oh. So Logan's saying it's Facebook that's making the noise? Okay. All right. Never mind. We're going to get back to this. Another Doc Vader soon. Scott Thomas. Scott, Doc Vader took a hiatus because we felt like we were going, like he was just talking too much. And sometimes he needs to go back to his meditation egg and he needs to think about Padme and he needs to do what he does in that meditation egg, which if you saw Tom and I's live chat with Doc Vader, you will know exactly what he does in his meditation egg. Am I right, Tom Heineber?
You are 100% right. I don't have a mic. I have to yell, Z.
Did you watch my back?
I hear you pretty good, though. I think your mic's on.
Turn my mic back on.
Yeah, let's get...
Somebody said it's when you touch your phone.
When I touch my phone?
Feedback thing.
When I touch my phone, then I think of you. Oh, I don't want anybody else.
When I think of you, I touch myself.
Wow.
That got dark real fast, dude. Real fast.
Dude, I saw Beauty and the Beast last night.
No.
It was dope as shit. I
No,
loved
you
it.
Didn't. No,
was
you
so
didn't.
good.
No.
And now I know I'll never leave her, even though she's far from view. I will always. I forget the rest of the song, Z. It was great though.
Be our guest, be our guest, put our service to the test. I've got not a French accent, but I can fake it with the best. Ah, be our guest, be our guest. Okay.
Ooh, what are your thoughts about the med schools outside the U.S.? I'm a flight medic. I'm thinking about going to med school at the school in Grenada, and one of our ER docs went to. Well, nothing bad ever happened in Grenada, so you're
No,
good.
Grenada has been without any history having to do with the U.S., the Soviets, the Cold War, or medical schools. So I would say go for it. Yeah, well, look, you come out of the. This has been a thing. So docs trained in the Caribbean are shown to be more likely to work in poor, underserved rural areas. I say go for it. They're upscaling their training. Lots of stuff is happening, so it's a good thing. Although you will have to have a parrot on your shoulder and say "arr" on rounds. And every note is something like this: "I, 33-year-old landlubber, status post scurvy, dispo the plank." That's it. That's the whole note. It's very simple. You don't have to click boxes because piracy. It's a thing. What else we got? Be a guest. The anthem of administration. You're a patient, not a guest. Jamie Giblin. That's true. Could you imagine like the head of human resources is like, be a guest, put our service to the test. And then the patient's like, yeah, I want a turkey sandwich and dilaudid right now. That's how it would go down. That's exactly how it would go down.
Ray Pear says, hello, is this keyboard on? What is your opinion of online medical degrees? He thinks they're not real.
They're not real. I've never heard of an online medical. I mean, I know there's like online nursing stuff, but I didn't know there was an online, like, say, MD degree.
How can you have an online medical degree if you don't see or touch patients?
Dude, that's called radiology, pathology, a lot of psychiatry. I mean, it's a thing, people. We could do that. I get an online radiology degree. That'd be incredible, actually. That's absolutely not true, and my wife will sucker punch me again if I say that because...
Sarah Hunter, is this about you? Don't get me started on him. He thinks that endometriosis is all in our heads. Is she talking about you?
She's talking endometriosis all in the heads?
I don't know.
Is she talking about Dr. Drew?
Maybe Dr. Drew.
I think she's talking about Dr. Drew.
Yeah.
So endometriosis, fascinating. Fascinating.
What is that? Tell me, because
Okay.
I'm uneducated.
All right, so endometriosis, technically the medical condition is where little pieces of, the term is ectopic endometrium, meaning endometrial lining that lines the uterus, the stuff that sloughs off when you have menses and periods, etc. That stuff is found throughout various places in the body that it isn't supposed to be. And as your menstrual cycle starts to commence and things start to change in hormones, they grow and shrink and they do things and they can cause tremendous discomfort, suffering, pain. Now, there are some who believe that people who complain of endometriosis and they have multiple operations, they never get better, it's all supratentorial, psychosomatic pain. And then there are others who are specialists in endometriosis who think the absolute opposite. And I will tell you that there are always some people who have psychosomatic or psychosocial, stress-related, etc. pain and conditions along those lines, but endometriosis is real, So the question is, do you have endometriosis or do you have psychosomatic pain? That's what needs to be teased out. And you could argue the same thing with fibromyalgia, same thing with irritable bowel syndrome, same thing with all these other things. IBS is really interesting because there's some irritable bowel syndrome. There's some data that people with irritable bowel syndrome, when you inflate a balloon in their colon during colonoscopy, they have a very much lower pain threshold than normal control patients. And so they may just be hypersensitive. Their nervous system may be hypersensitive to stretch and pain, et cetera. Hence a lot of the symptoms of IBS. That's just one study.
Give me a disease that everyone thinks is real, but it's not real.
Gout. It's a total fallacy. Doesn't exist. It's just people with, exquisite psychosomatic toe pain. Next question.
My father-in-law has gout, and all he drinks is beer and eats potatoes.
Logan's father-in-law has gout,
All the time.
and all he does is drinks beer and
He
eat potatoes.
eats steak and potatoes, not a single vegetable, and drinks like 2 cases of beer a night.
That's just a fun time.
And let
right
me
there.
guess.
That
Let me
man's
guess,
a
Logan.
goddamn American patriot.
Can I ask you a question about this? Is your grandfather?
Leah's dad.
Leah's dad. So your grandfather by proxy. Your grandfather-in-law. Is that a thing? So okay, let me ask you this: would this guy go to an urgent care and drop a copay without first texting his good friend and partner to ask about the gout?
Yes.
That's well, no, actually, so to actually answer your question, diet is a huge influence on gout, alcohol, purines, etc., in certain foods, which it sounds like your grandfather by proxy is eating. So yes, gout is a very lifestyle-influenced disease, if not lifestyle-caused disease. The worst case of gout I ever saw was a Filipino gentleman who he was a VA patient, and he had such bad gout that he became allergic to allopurinol and allergic to colchicine and these other drugs that we use to treat gout. We ended up having to put him on chronic steroids, and he ended up getting a fungal infection in his face and dying from that. So ultimately, he was killed by gout. So stuff happens even with diseases that don't seem that serious.
That's enough gout talk for me personally.
Never enough gout talk.
Carolyn,
Never.
Carolyn Franson says, "What do you think about people with mental illnesses becoming doctors?"
I have a lot of colleagues actually who have some form of mental illness, everything from OCD to bipolar to depression to anxiety. We had one student in our class that darn near had a psychotic break in the middle of her training and recovered. So I think it's absolutely fine as long as you're getting help and you're being treated, and it actually gives you a unique perspective and insight to a lot of conditions that you wouldn't normally have.
I feel like you are vastly underestimating by saying one student.
If I say more than one, then they're going to know who they are, and it's going to be ugly. Oh, speaking of which, I got to tell one story, and this person does know who they are. When we were talking about butthurt earlier, and we were talking about this idea of like, I want to be called they, I gender identify as they, and is that okay in medical school when it's about the patient, et cetera. Dr. Drew being a dick, that's the title of this show. There was a person, not otherwise specified, in our medical school class when I was there, and in the first year, we had a professor come in, and they were showing us video of the pelvic exam. And the person puts in the speculum, opens up the vaginal walls, we see the cervix, and this professor said, and there you see, it's all nice and pink inside. This student raises her hand, interrupts the lecture, and says, I beg to differ, we are not all pink inside. And I have to say, this was a person who self-identified as something very complex. And the entire room kind of looked at this person and said, actually, we kind of are. Because inside we're all mucosa, all right? But that was in the 90s when PC was taken to an extreme that was so severe that like I would literally get hives just walking in the room, and I was a fairly progressive dude. It was insane. It was the kind of thing that would cause Logan to get his guns out.
You think we don't live in a super PC climate right now? You think the 90s were more PC than what we live in every day?
Dude, I think the 90s were like the apex. And I'll say this because I went to college in the 90s and at Berkeley. And it was like, oh no, another stupid student group is forming some identity group. And I tell you, I got butthurt because I was an Indian male, heterosexual. I say this in the past tense like it's no longer the case. I am an Indian male, heterosexual. I didn't fit in with the other Indian males in their little Indian group because I wasn't brown enough, and I wasn't, I didn't have enough, my daddy didn't hit me with the belt enough, and this and that and the other thing. And so I was a little butthurt, so maybe because I didn't fit into a particular identity club, I hated them all and wanted to just homogenize everyone into an off-white goo. Is that normal?
What were you like in high school? What was your group in high school?
Oh, dude. In high school, it was one of those deals where I was always trying to find my identity. And I didn't know who it was because I was like the class clown, but I was kind of still a little chubby, and I didn't really.
So you were like that nomad guy. You were like, this week I'm a goth, and then like next week it's like, now I'm a skater punk. Like that was you?
You don't know me, Tom Heineber. Have you been looking at my diary? No, that's exactly what I was. The guy who I decided freshman year I was going to be a skater. So for 3 years, I was a skater. I decided junior year I was going to be the guitar guy. So then I was the guitar guy. I learned to play electric guitar, and I practiced 10 hours a day. And then I decided, no, I'm the college guy that does music and molecular biology because I'm so well-rounded. And then I graduated, and I'm like, no, I'm the guy who's going to ruin his life by going to medical school. And that's what I ended up becoming, the guy whose life was ruined by medicine. Identity, people. Learn about it.
Aaron Bidwell is calling us the odd couple.
We're the odds ratio couple, actually, because we're in healthcare. He's definitely got an odds ratio that crosses, statistical significance.
You're throwing a lot of big words at me right now, and I don't know what they mean, so I'm just going to take them as an insult.
Bitcoin.
I'm going to take them as disrespect, Z.
Bitcoin.
The 90s were amazing.
The 90s were amazing. You two were just barely born. I think Tom was just fresh out the placenta.
Speaking of mental illness, Dr. Z-Dog MD. If you had to diagnose yourself in your own 100-acre woods, what mental illness would you have? Oh, by the way, check this out. Have you heard the theory that Christopher Robin is schizophrenic and every character in the 100-acre woods is a version of his mental illness? Like Tigger is ADHD and Eeyore is depression and et cetera, et cetera.
Yes, absolutely. And Piglet is like, I don't know what Piglet is.
I think Piglet is just a little bitch.
Do not talk about my childhood Piglet that way. What would I diagnose myself with in my own 100-acre woods? I think I have a component of OCD and a bit of ADD kind of mixed together in a toxic stew. I think when I was younger, I used to have intermittent depression. I don't get it anymore. Actually, it's interesting because I think my life circumstances are better. But yeah, that's what I think. You guys, you're adult medical professionals. Diagnose the dog. Tell me what you think. You've seen me talk. Narcissistic personality disorder? Check.
We got some Piglet is codependence, Piglet is anxiety, Rabbit is OCD.
Is codependence actually a diagnosis, or is it something Dr. Phil made up? Because I don't think it's a real thing. I mean, is that a thing, really?
Let me tell you a story about Logan Stewart, who's the most codependent person I know.
Love you, Leah.
One time we walked into Logan's his store where his wife works. It's a Tuesday afternoon, random Tuesday afternoon. He's just looking at her across the aisle of cleaning supplies, and he goes, "You're just so beautiful," and he starts to cry in the middle of the fucking store.
I think this is why I like Logan a lot, because he's like your evil twin.
That's codependence right there, people. Okay. I don't cry on random Tuesdays in the middle of the day in the cleaning supply aisle.
Women love it.
Chicks love Logan. That's the thing. Whereas me and Tom get very much less love. Yes, codependency is real, says Arlen Gomez. Now you're making me feel codependent, Arlen. Kanga and Rue are MPD. Oh, interesting, Jane Vrana. Codependency is a thing, but Dr. Phil overuses it, Wendy Lynn. Yes, that could be. ADD for sure, but it works for you.
Crystal
Cheryl.
Keene says codependency is super real and it scares me. It freaks me out when people act like if they don't have a partner, they'll die.
How dare you?
Me and Tom are codependent. It's pretty clear.
On each other.
I need Tom to do this, and he needs me to do this. So that's like a definition of codependent. And Logan doesn't need either of us. He just, Although I'm waiting, I don't know. I'm waiting for Logan to cry over me because it hasn't happened yet. Okay, he won't even text me. Yeah, he won't even text me when he has a cold.
Codependency is a thing. Marilyn Markunis.
Yep, people have been saying that, which to me means it's not a thing. It means people think I'm kidding. Am I kidding though?
Batman versus Superman is trash.
Okay, that has nothing
Batman
to do with
versus
that,
Superman is trash, Tony Greco.
Errol-
Codependence and narcissists are a dysfunctional relationship match. I've seen that, Arlen Gomez, actually. That is truth. Read about it in a book called Human Magnet Syndrome. Okay. That book sounds vaguely Illuminati-ish. What do you think? Should we check it out?
Listen, I always had a dream when I was a little boy that if I worked really hard and ate all my vegetables, that I could grow up to one day become the head of the Illuminati, and I'm this close to making it happen.
Tom, I've always said that if you put your mind to it, you could do anything. And I think head of the Freemasons, I was head of the Freemasons for like a week. What do we got? What would happen if all the Winnie the Pooh characters underwent psychotherapy? Well, Emily Lafferman, we would pretty much ruin everything, including Christmas. It's in the DSM-4, Stephanie Yunker. But Stephanie, we're on DSM-5 now. So unless you show me that it's in DSM-5, Stephanie, it doesn't exist to me. All right? Well, I mean, being gay was a condition in DSM-3 or something, wasn't it? It was like a disorder.
Justine Ann says dependent personality disorders in the DSM.
Wait, what? Read that again.
Justine Ann says dependent personality disorder is in the DSM.
Dependent personality disorder.
So that would be codependency.
But yeah, but
basically.
I'm saying the term codependent is not a real diagnosis. It's dependent personality, or whatever it is.
Well,
Am I wrong?
It'd be a colloquialism. It's just how we are saying dependent personality disorder.
Oh, who is this we? You're not a healthcare professional.
It's like when I call you a racist, but I really just mean that you're a xenophobe.
First of all, the word Z in xenophobe, it hurts. Okay, it hurts. Can I be the head of the Knights Templar, Brian Maher? No, because you have to earn that by paying a lot of money to the Scientologists, which have nothing to do with the Knights Templar.
And also reading The Da Vinci Code by Dan Brown, which has the shortest chapters of any book ever. Do you know how many people read the Da Vinci Code and they were like, oh my God, the Da Vinci Code's great. It's like, you like it because it has short chapters and you're stupid and you have a slow attention.
And every chapter ends with, and then he saw something that made him shit his pants. And then you turn the page and it's like, oh, actually, we're kidding. There was nothing that made him shit his pants. We just wanted you to keep turning the page to the next stupid chapter in the stupid story with print that's this big, even though you have 20/20, because we think you're all idiots, America, but we're going to sell you this crap. Did I just say that?
Can we talk about the conspiracy theory thing? Because I have an idea that people that believe in conspiracy theories just have a really strong desire to believe that someone, somewhere, is capable of doing their job.
That's exactly what it is. Like, if you believe in conspiracies, you really think smart people exist and know what they're doing and are capable of hiding stuff from people.
Or you just never got over Santa Claus.
Guilty as Jingle Bell, dude. I'm telling you. That shit's real.
What do you think, Z? Should we wrap it up? We've done about an hour.
I think we've done horrible damage to both our credibility, the show, the nation, and the Z-Pack. What do you guys think, Z-Pack? Is this a format that you guys enjoy? If so, here's the call to action. Hit share, hit like, comment, because we're going to try to do some variant of this as we keep iterating the show nightly, and we need your feedback to make it dope. So get on it, people. We love y'all. By the way, if you haven't seen that Harry Potter clip yet, you need to see it and share it because it's kind of funny and a bit topical. On that note, I want to thank these two things for their incredible assistance on this project. And hey, we got some likes right now. Did you see that? All those blue thumbs. That means like, right?
Yeah.
Did I do that right? Ooh, look at that. Marta Rodriguez, trans are considered a delusion in DSM-5. Really?
All right, now we got to talk about that. Now we can't end
Okay,
the show.
come on. So trans, look up, can someone Google? Tom, can you Google transsexual and DSM-5? Because I feel like that's
I'm not
going
going to Google transsexual.
He's not going to Google. I'm like, get a Dr. Google consult on this because I don't know the answer because I don't just sit on the pot reading DSM-5. It's not something like, I'll read a lot of stuff on the can, but I'm not going to read DSM-5.
Listen, I got love for my trannies out there, and a lot of people are going to be just mad that I just called them trannies.
You
but
just used the word.
I don't really want to Google it and see what I might see.
Oh my gosh. Look, now our hearts are turning to angry faces. This is what Tom...
Why can you call a cab driver a cabbie, but you can't call a transsexual a tranny?
We're hemorrhaging viewers.
They. On that note, guys, you may not want to hit share at this point. No, hit share.
Do it.
Spread the word. Do it. We need the likes. We need the shares. It helps this thing grow. And Christy Columbus ends with the best line. Watch out, kids. Close your ears. Fuck the DSM. Boom. On that note, this is the first inaugural...
Sorry, what? Sorry, I was doing it on your boom.